Hi, welcome to the studio. I'm Lindy Whitten. Today I want to talk about darks. Don't be afraid of the darks. Push the darks a bit in your pastels, and what you want is that contrast between light and dark, and that will give your painting the wow factor. So I've just got this little painting here that I did the other day for you, showing you how to use an underpainting and then do pastels over the top. And today I want to talk a little bit more about it. So it was a reasonable painting, but it was a little bit washed out. So what we're going to do is zoom in on it, and then I'll talk you through what to do with your darks. I've started putting the contrast in, and you can see that there's some darker deeps there which helps with it. So what I'm going to do is just take my little box. Here I've got a box of just leftover odds and ends, and I'm going to move up to the dark end here, the dark side, and we're just going to put in some darker contrast there, which will help give our painting a little bit of pizzazz. So grab a dark pastel, and I'm just going to edge around under the shadow where the foliage will be leaving a bit of shadow in a really deep dark violet purpley colour, and just make some darker areas down where the cliffs are at the sea edge, and there's sort of a little bit of shadow, and they'll be deeper and darker, a little bit running down, just a few little lines here and there. It's all it needs to make it a step up. So already you can see you've got a lot more contrast there, a lot more interest in that. I can do the same over here in the trees, which are pretty bland all round. So I'll just go in with some, this time lights, because I've got a lot of dark in there. So I'm going to use a lemon yellow here on the palms. Just where the light's catching them. And now I want to go in with something deeper and darker, and I've got quite a dark one here, and I'm just going to put some darker in the middle of the palm trees there as they branch out. Centre of it branching out, just to give it a little bit more depth. And I'll just try a little bit of that on some of the tree trunks there. This tree over here is almost indistinguishable as a tree, so I'm just going to actually make that a monkey tree, which is quite dark foliage. I'm actually going to go in with a purple, which is a little bit, because all that tree is sort of in the shade there, a whole lot of it, so I'll put that. It's going down quite low there towards the sea. And what I might do is just perk those. I've got some shadows going down onto the beach, it's on a sharp edge, and I'm going to just give those a little bit more depth too. So I've livened up the beach there by putting the really deep darks against it. I've got the trees with a bit more shadow in, there's more around here. Now I could do something up here in that bit of forest there too, by getting a deep dark bluey green and just putting in some deepest shadows there. Just to give it a little bit of interest, contrast. Make it a bit deeper down there. Same here. A little bit over on the island. So the foliage has suddenly got more interesting, and I can even add a little bit more interest to that by putting in some, not quite so, just putting in some little bits of red. This is not demonstrating the dark technique so much as the complementary colour technique, where you put in a little bit of reds on the greens. But I think that's come a long way. I could actually, if I wanted to, go in and deepen up here too, where to give me a bit of contrast in the water. And so I'm getting in now some of the shadows from the islands, and they might even come down here a little bit, just a little bit, but maybe not on the sand. So that's done that. And then what you're setting up is contrast, so I'm now going to put in a little bit of contrast from the cliffy area here into the water. There's some sort of light colours there with the cliffs going in. And lastly, a little bit of light colour coming through here from the sky in the water. And that might actually come on down into the water here. So even when you haven't got really strong contrast, you still want some light and darks. And I'm putting that in here with the reflections from the sky there, going into the water, and a little bit more of the lighter colour of the water there around the beach. So I think we can agree that that painting is much better now. I've amped it up a bit by putting in the deep darks against the lighter colours and giving it some strong contrasts. Thanks for joining me in the studio. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.